Coming up next, On the Spot. Aw, isn't he adorable? For one time only, we're going to show our softer side with a live demo of Nintendogs for the DS. Too cute for you? Then stick around for some lovable explosions and a look at Raze's Hell. But that's not all. We've got more demos like Electroplantkon, Pack Picks, and Fire Emblem, plus a first look at From Russia with Love and Sony's latest batch of iToy games. We're deep into our training for E3, live and on the spot. Hello everyone, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Rich Gallup, and we have a crazy show going on today. We have a million GameSpot editors coming by. We're going to be talking about all kinds of games. GameSpot Complete members, right now, send in all the questions you can. I want questions on Fire Emblem. I want questions on Electroplantkon. I want questions on Pack Picks, Raze's Hell, Nintendogs. Send them in right now, and we'll ask them to Bethany, Jeff, Ryan Davis, and Brad. And right now, I'm joined by Bethany. Bethany, how's it going?
Hey, pretty good.
And currently, you are playing what?
I am playing Fire Emblem for the GameCube.
Now, that's not coming out in the States until like November, though, right?
Right, that's true. I'm playing the import version.
Oh, because it's out in Japan right now.
Right, yes. Just came out.
Now, Fire Emblem, of course, came out on the Game Boy Advance when? A year ago or so?
It came out a little longer than that. It came out a couple years ago.
Okay, I have no track of time.
That's all right.
But what can you tell us about Fire Emblem? For people who aren't familiar with the game, it's coming from the Game Boy Advance to the GameCube. That's got to be some dramatic shift from 2D to 3D, right?
Well, yes. The series started out on consoles in Japan. The previous two versions that came before this were on the GBA.
You can keep attacking while you're doing this.
Okay. And now, right. And now they've moved the series back to consoles. And in doing so, yes, this version, unlike the previous versions, is in 3D instead of 2D. So, see, it looks a little different, but it's got the same basic gameplay. It's a strategy RPG. Got tons of different types of units that can be upgraded later in the game to even more powerful units. Got, crazy, insane battles like the one I'm in right now, where I've got myself boxed to a corner and it's really dumb.
You got a pretty big posse right now, though, you could say.
Yeah, I mean, they're all cool. As you attack guys, you get experience and level up your characters, so you can, get a good strong posse going. It's sometimes a little hard to level up the magic using characters because they tend to be a little gimp, and you don't want to get them in the line of fire or they get owned.
Right.
But yeah, no, it plays remarkably. It plays basically just the same as GBA games. So if you played that before, you'll be able to get into this right away. And it's got the same Fire Emblem feel and all that. Can't comment too much on it story-wise because it's all in Japanese, and I can only read like 3 things. So. But
it's a different story than the Game Boy Advance version,
yes,
correct?
Yes, it's not directly tied to the Game Boy Advance games, which they acted like a sequel and prequel, but this is its own story.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
So what's going on right here?
Well, right here I am attempting to defend my party members against this incursion, which kind of came out of nowhere. Generally, when you're in battles, usually there's some type of general character or boss character that you try to defeat at the end to end things. But there's also stages like this where it is basically survive as long as you can until help comes or stuff like that. So there's different objectives to whichever mission you happen to be on at the time.
So now you say missions. Is this the kind of game, are you just free roaming around some giant world looking for stuff to do, or? It's
not. It's actually much like the other games. It's totally linear.
Okay.
So this is progressing at a set pace.
I knew that.
You're being directed what battles you're going to fight. So.
Great. You want to take some questions?
Sure.
All right. We have some questions right here.
Okay.
Our first question is from Daniel Perez in Brazil. He says, "Dear Bethany, I didn't play the GBA Fire Emblem, just the SNES one. Can you say, is the gameplay the same?"
Well, first of all, you should have played the Game Boy Advance version. What's wrong with you? Second of all, it's hard for me to say because I haven't played.
It's okay to admit that.
Any of the SNES, right?
Because
it's what? It's in Japanese.
Exactly. The Super Nintendo version did not come out here in the United States.
Yeah, so I don't have the pre-knowledge of those particular titles. Based on what I know about the series, it plays pretty similarly. There are some new things that were added to this version, just in terms of different skills and attacks and different like character classes that you can upgrade to and stuff like that. So there's some new stuff in here, but as far as gameplay goes, it's largely the same gameplay, I would guess. Plus, it's still the old Fire Emblem. If you lose a dude, then that dude is gone completely for the rest of the game.
Now, trade secrets right here.
Yeah.
You just had a whole bunch of sub-menus right there, totally in Japanese.
Right, yeah.
Now, do you know what you're picking just because you played so many games like this? You're like, oh, this must be like where you pick a spell from, or are you guessing, or what?
The game has a tutorial. Well, it has a tutorial as you go along. So as you play certain missions, it'll pop up asking you if you want the tutorial. It doesn't force you into it, but if you have no idea what you're doing and you go yes, it shows you different tactics and different options that you have. So you get to know what options do what, but I couldn't tell you what half these things say.
It always amazed me. Back when I was a tester, my lead tester actually imported the Wind Waker from Japan and had beaten it before it came out in the United States. And I was like, how do you do that if you can't read it?
Right. I mean, you don't get all the intricacies of the story and what's going on unless you happen to have, a guide in front of you. But you can definitely usually pick up most of what's going on, despite the fact that you can't read it. Like, it's easy to figure out how to attack, how to heal, how to move, and the tactics pretty much.
He's done.
Yeah, he's pretty.
Yeah,
he's totally on.
All right, one last question from Drew Solario in Dubuque, Iowa. Will the Smash Brothers Melee famed Marth or Roy make an appearance in the new Fire Emblem game?
The characters themselves, I would guess no. Their theme song, it's possible. I haven't encountered it yet, but that's not to say it's not here, since I'm not done. So
obviously. And people who are looking to learn more about Fire Emblem, where should they look?
Oh, they should look at our game space. We've got, our video preview, some footage, some screenshots, lots of stuff.
Very cool. Well, thanks for coming by, Bethany.
Sure, no problem.
Appreciate it. This game looks real good. And it comes out when exactly?
We don't know when exactly, but it's supposed to come out this winter. It's currently scheduled for sometime in November, I think.
Nice. November 7th, I do believe, is what's going on.
Yeah, we'll see.
So you want to kill one more person for us before you go?
We can try. Let's see. Yeah. Kill that dude.
Do it. Take him down.
Doing it. Magic. Oh noes. But he gets hit twice.
Nice.
And
that's
he's
a
dead.
sweet way to end it. All right, great.
Sure.
Thanks for coming by, Bethany.
No problem.
Appreciate it. And very soon we'll be going to Ryan McDonald, who's standing by with Jeff Gerstmann. But right now, recently we got to take a first look at From Russia with Love is the next James Bond game brought to you by EA. This one's got Sean Connery, the true James Bond. Here's a clip. Check it out.
Well, this year's Bond game is From Russia with Love, starring Sean Connery, and it's his second movie that he did in 1963. We've got a new beginning. We really are following the story, so the story is a great story, so we're trying to keep that intact, but we got a brand new, nice big twist on the ending. We've got a couple of levels that are brand new. We're calling it sort of a director's cut. We've added some new gadgets here and there. We've added a jetpack. And we've added a couple of new actors into it too. So what's new in the game is, we heard loud and clear that Bond needs to jump. He needs to be a little bit more physical. So we've added a button that says, I can come up to something, I can jump over it, I can hurdle it, I can climb things. I'm jumping longer distances. So Bond is much more physical in this game. That's the way we looked at it, that Connery was more of a physical guy. He fought more like a brawler and things like that. So we've kind of taken it into his style. The idea is that your Bond will be different than my Bond, and play the way you want. Play the way that if you were James Bond, how would you play the game? So the whole idea is that no two Bonds will ever be the same. So all that's new to the game. We got brand new gadgets. A big difference in this game is we have integrated driving levels. In one level, you go from a car to gadgets to jet packing. It's all integrated. It's all one level now. The artists love, trying to recreate something different like this, and it gives us a brand new look. And we're just researching. I mean, we are spending so much time researching. We're looking at all the movies from that era. We're looking at all the cars. We're looking at the clothing, the fashion, the hairstyles, how people talked. We have so much pre-production art. I mean, our walls are covered in pre-production art, which just shows if it doesn't look like the 60s, doesn't have the coloring from the 60s or the lighting, we won't use it. We're taking so much detail to make everything look, seem, and feel like 1963. The game is From Russia with Love, starring Sean Connery, the original James Bond. It will come out on GameCube, PS2, and Xbox in fall of 2005.
Well, there was an exciting look at From Russia with Love. I'm joined with Jeff Gershman. What's up, buddy?
Oh, not much. How you been?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Long time no see.
Oh, no doubt. Now, that game looked pretty awesome, and we've been getting a ton of questions about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to have a lot of questions about that thing. It's Sean Connery. That's crazy. It's like, personally, I could go for a little Timothy Dalton, maybe a little Roger Moore or something like that, but, they'll get there eventually.
Yeah,
I'm
and
sure.
then they'll have like an all-cast version, it's got everybody in it.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty awesome. We got some of these questions. You mind answering them before we move on?
Hit me.
All right, cool. This one comes from our good friend Bob Patterson in New Jersey. He wants to know, with Russia from Love, will it be the revival of the Bond series? In other words, how much will the game be like previous Bond franchises, and how much of it will be innovative?
From looking at the trailer we saw and the interview, it really seems like this game is kind of going back to Everything or Nothing,
really?
Which was a great Bond game. I mean, let's face it, James Bond is more than hand holding a gun, walking around like this. Yeah. People seem to want some first-person shooter, but the character is so much more than that, and I think they can really kind of convey more of that from these third-person games, more of the gadgets, more of the cars, more of the variety.
Any idea why they did back to the old school Bond and instead of trying to do something else? It's just because the franchise is kind of dead in the water?
There's no official James Bond right now. Yeah. So EA with the Bond license without a James Bond, they always want to make big, movie splashy Hollywood things with real people in them, and without a real person playing James Bond, they had to sit around and go, well, we got this engine, what are we going to do? Right. So they probably just said, well, hey, there's all these Bond movies we haven't used yet. Let's get Sean Connery on the phone, see if we can make something happen. So,
right on.
Yeah.
Well, enough about the James Bond, because you got little pack picks up in here, right?
Yeah, pack picks.
What's that all about?
Pack picks is, it started out as a tech demo when Nintendo was first showing off the DS. Now it's a game, but really it's at its best it's just kind of a tech demo. So yeah, I wanted to come on and show it because it's really kind of unique. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like what this game does, and I'll show you right here. Check this out.
Excellent.
So here I am drawing me some Pac-Man.
As you look over,
and that Pac-Man came to life, dude.
Now you just totally drew that on your little DS there, and there's another one. Now
so now I can hold him in place and move him back and draw walls to make him move around.
I gotcha. Now, this mode that we're looking at right here, it says sketchbook up there. This is just a practice?
Right, this is just a practice mode. There's a game here where there are ghosts on the screen. You kind of have to guide your big, goofy-looking, malformed Pac-Man into the ghosts. That's not really too much fun, though.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of just at its best as me drawing this crazy Pac-Man. Look at him! He's huge! That's a big Pac-Man.
That is a big Pac-Man. So the game itself is literally just drawing those Pac-Man, corralling him so he can go catch some ghosts, and that's it.
Well, in later levels, you can draw arrows, and kind of like basically there'll be some ghosts in the top screen floating around with bubbles. So you draw arrows, and they launch up into the top screen, and then they knock the ghosts down so that you can guide the Pac-Man in to eat them.
I gotcha.
So, yeah, it's pretty much roughly the same from start to finish. As a game, not so hot.
Yeah.
As technology, though, it's really innovative.
Really?
It's like you haven't really seen too much like this out there. So I recommend people should get a hold of it and mess with it for a few minutes, though not if that means actually having to buy the game.
And right now, it is currently only available in Japan. Is that right?
It is in stores in the U.S. now.
It is.
Just came out this week, so should be out there. If people can rent DS games, That's what they should do.
Now, before we move on, the next game actually is the one that is out in Japan currently.
Yes.
Electroplankton.
Yes, Electroplankton.
Now, before we get rid of this, what happens if you don't draw a Pac-Man? Like if you just draw kind of a Pac-Man, but it's more like a circle or something, it's just not
It
recognized?
just sort of doesn't recognize it. In this mode, it'll actually recognize other stuff that it wouldn't recognize in the normal game. So I can draw a little butterfly here.
Oh, wow.
And it'll kind of fly up. Or I can draw a little rain cloud here, and it'll do some raining. In the normal game, it won't recognize those symbols. It just recognizes Pac-Man, the arrow, and a bomb. Which near the end of the game, you can draw bombs and blow stuff up.
Okay.
But yeah, if you just draw like a really sloppy-looking Pac-Man, nothing happens, except for if it thinks it's a butterfly. But you can get your Pac-Man going here with with his big head here.
Oh, that was too big apparently.
Yeah. So now you can turn them upside down, and
that's a malformed.
some crazy looking Pac-Mans.
That's awesome.
These Pac-Mans is crazy.
So can we swap over and check out Electroplankton?
Sure. Let's pop in Electroplankton here real quick.
While you do that, let me see if I got any questions here that you could answer.
Hit me.
I've got a PackPix question. This comes from Ross in North Carolina. He is very interested in this unique game and really need a new game for his DS. When do you think the review will go up?
Later today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it'll be up probably like a couple minutes after the show's over. So check the site and it'll be there.
Fantastic. If you got that Electroplankton ready, I will not say anything else other than let's just check out Electroplankton.
Yeah. Okay. So Electroplankton. Let me power this down and back up.
All right, I got it for you.
All right.
Well, while we do this, I'm going to actually ask you another question. This one is from Jernigan. He wants to know, from what I've seen of the game, this is a reference to Electroplankton, it seems more like a gimmick than a full game. Do you think there will be enough to it that'll be worth the money?
Well, that's the interesting part about Electroplankton is that it isn't a game at all.
Oh.
So
figure then.
yeah, so there's no start or end to Electroplankton. It's basically 10 different little music mini games. Well, except not games. Little mini applications you can use to make music. Mostly you're making music at random using these crazy little electric fish. So we'll go into the performance mode here. And basically, along the bottom here, you can scroll through your different little music setups. This one, I think, is my favorite because it uses old NES sound samples.
This is like this is the one they showed when they did that demo of it.
Yeah, so basically, it'll just sit here and loop this music here like it's doing. And I can just, at any point, just kind of start tapping something out. And it'll just kind of repeat it for a while. So yeah, you just kind of make little ditties, and it'll crank it out for 4 bars or so before resetting back to normal.
Now, when they showed the demo last time I saw it, there was like some mic input action you could do, right? You could speak into that thing?
One of the other ones here is actually, it's kind of like a little mini 4-track recorder.
Really?
So these fish each one represents a different track. So I can kind of select a track, and on the next loop, it'll kind of activate, and now it's actually recording my voice. So next time, it'll just start to loop it.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so you can record 4 different things in there. There's a little bit of latency in there. So when you record it, it lags a little bit behind, so it's hard to get stuff on beat with this. But it's still really neat. Let's check out.
So what do you expect people like you yourself, what are you going to do with this?
Mess around with it for a bit.
Yeah.
Basically, this one, I'm moving these leaves around that are launching fish at other leaves, and when they hit the leaves, they start to do that, and I can pump out a whole bunch of little fish here.
I gotcha. Now you control which ones they're hitting?
Well, I can move all the leaves here and kind of just make them bounce around, in whatever angles I need. So.
Gotcha.
So it's a really neat toy. It's another example of things that can really only be done on the DS, like this and PackPix. And while they aren't necessarily the most involving, addictive things in the world, they're neat little things that you won't see anywhere else, and that's what's kind of cool about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Well, with that, then I think we're going to go ahead and move on. If you are done with the Electroplankton.
Yeah. I'm done busting out Fat Duck Hunt remixes. I think for the moment.
Right on. Now we're going to go ahead and check out a little clip that we have of our good friend Greg Cassavin. We got a chance recently to check out the latest in iToy technology, and one of the things that they had to show off was there's actually several different games. They had iToy Play 2, they had iToy Chat, and they had iToy Kinetic, which is kind of like this workout program. But yeah, enough about this. Let's go ahead and check out the action.
we are back, and I'm joined with Ryan Davis. Hey, Ryan Davis, what's going on, buddy?
Rich.
Nothing at all,
Hey,
man. Welcome to the
Rich.
set. Greg looked like he was having a ton of fun.
When we first put those up, I just could not help but love watching all of those over and over again. He does. He looks like he's having a blast doing it. And that's the thing is that you just, with the iToy games, it's so easy to just make fun of people playing it because you look kind of goofy. But when you're actually doing it, it can just be so much fun.
You can kind of tell, like, there's a second where it looks like he's like, oh, I can't believe I'm doing this.
He wasn't ready to commit to it.
Then when he does, those games can be really fun. Our man Ocarina went on the early show, and the woman host there, she started playing that iToy game and was beating up the...
That's the whole point of the iToy stuff.
Yeah.
Is that it's so accessible to anyone. You don't have to be a gamer. It's the interface is you, so it's so self-explanatory.
I can't wait to get those games here in the studio.
It's going to be a blast.
We'll play them. And also, I'd like to compliment Jeff on his fine music skills.
I know he's laying down the stupid fat duck hunt remixes.
In his words, yeah, he was.
It was pretty good. I like the look of the Electroplantkon.
If you want to hear more of Jeff's music, I'm going to give him a plug right now.
Plug him.
He has a band called Midnight Brown, which is phenomenal.
I agree entirely.
And his the latest album called 2084 is great.
Yes.
And I recommend everyone go download it. It's free right now. You go to www.suburbanallstars.com/MB.
You'll learn
Check it
things
out.
about Evel Knievel you never knew.
It is a phenomenal album. Anyways, Ryan, why are you here? What did you bring with you?
I don't know what I'm here for. I'm here to show people Raze's Hell, the new Majesco game. Majesco has really been kind of knocking out some really interesting offbeat games this year between Phantom Dust, Psychonauts, and this. This one is probably the most fiendish of the group.
What is Raze's Hell?
Raze's Hell. Raze's Hell. If you haven't heard about it, Raze's Hell is basically it's all anti-cute. Basically, the idea is, like the Smurfs or the Care Bears, where the cute, cuddly, nice creatures were always, winning with just a, puckish spirit and just, big smiles and everything. This game proposes that they are all actually evil and want nothing more than to destroy everyone that isn't, beautiful and nice and pretty like them.
Sure.
So you play a creature that isn't beautiful, nice, and pretty, and so they have basically started a genocidal war against you and your people, and so you strike back. The entire game, you're just laying waste to little Teletubby-esque creatures. So let's go find some. So you play Raze. You look kind of like this weird rabbit thing. And let's see if we can go find some guys to blow up.
Yeah.
I know there's someone here.
There you go.
Oh, there's a little guy. So you just kind of give bloody death all over the place. And it's one of the great little touches is that when you do kill an enemy and their guts fly out all over the place, you actually suck up their guts to regain health. So, and there's something really just awesome about these are creatures that look like they should have stuffing inside of them,
right?
But instead there's just all of this awful gore, and that is a big part of the appeal of this game. And it's just lots of really other small touches, like they're a lot of the guns that the enemies are using look like Jack-in-the-Boxes, and they're just cranking on the little thing, and then awful laser bolts are coming out after you. And
they have such cute little voices, too.
And they have the cutest little voices, but they're saying these really awful things. Like one of them's talking about flashbacks from another war. It's like this real bad trip Vietnam vet kind of thing. It's topical in a way that is surprising, not just for the game because it doesn't look like it would be that kind of a game really, but just for any game in general because it is basically it's commentary in large part on the situation in Iraq. It's kind of interesting that they would be that overt about it, but over the course of the game, you'll hear them talk about shock and awe and things of that nature. But for the most part, it's just about killing teddy bears.
That's great,
and that's fun.
And so,
it's pretty much a third-person shooter for the most part, for all intents and purposes. It's pretty straightforward as far as the gameplay is concerned. It's you just run around. It's a lot of just firefights like what you just saw. Actually, I forgot I need to go back. But there's a lot of just kind of bizarre environments and.
How's the story behind the game? You're talking about the commentary. How do they deliver the story?
The story is interesting. I don't want to ruin it. Our review is going up really soon, but it starts off really strong. But after a while, it starts off presenting you with these little news clips, basically. Of the news that the cute people, the Culets they're called, and just sort of them candy coating the war efforts, and they're talking about bringing freedom to the horrible monsters of the Outland, and how it's being sold as this good thing, but in fact it's just genocide, basically. One of the cool things about Raze's Hell is that it is being sold out the gate for $20.
$20.
$20. This is a $20 game, and it's one of those $20 games that doesn't feel like a $20 game. There's a value to the production, and there's just a lot of stuff in it. Besides the main game, there's some Xbox Live support. There's some mini games that you can unlock.
I love like the flowers and the hearts and the on the sides of the truck.
Just how it looks like that's the stuff that these guys would be using. It just happens to all be military hardware. Also, it definitely has a unique aesthetic, unlike anything I've seen in a while. So it is genuinely fun. Though, to be honest, a big part of the appeal of this game is just gutting these cute little creatures.
That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, no,
why not?
It scratches that itch just so well. Just that specific, that hating the cute, just too cute to live, basically, are these creatures. Shoot that guy. But it's also, the other thing that I found surprising that I wasn't really expecting is it can be fairly challenging. Actually, it can be really challenging. Even on the normal difficulty, this game is hard.
Why you got to steal my question before I can ask it?
Oh, I'm sorry. You have a question?
Here, Connor Warshick in Connecticut. I want to ask you how hard you think Raze's Hell is. I think it's one of the hardest games I've ever played.
I think it's hard. I think the enemies put up more of a fight than you expect. They take a lot more damage than you expect, and you're not as tough as you look, quite honestly. But it's also, the game is really good about giving you lots of checkpoints to go back to, so you don't have to repeat huge sections of the game when you do end up dying, because you will die. But and look at this!
It's got hearts on
tank.
it. It's adorable.
It's all yellow and pink, and a little candy stripe on the cannon, but it's a mortar.
A smiley face on the military.
And if you didn't notice, I can ball up like. Actually, you know what? Let me find an enemy so I can show one of the cooler parts. You got other questions?
Yeah, I do. While you roll, actually, I have one other question.
Okay.
It's from Brett Parsons in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It says, Majesco seems to be the only major publisher supporting offbeat titles like Raze's Hell, Psychonauts, and Phantom Dust. Do you see other publishers following suit, or is this just a flash-in-the-pan phenomenon?
I don't think it's a flash in the pan. I think there's always some publisher somewhere making games and publishing games that other people aren't willing to do, that just other companies just aren't willing to take the risks on. All right, let me show you this here. Oh, that's a good one. You can just roll up.
Actually, roll them up.
I'm going to get this one to slap into the... Oh, dang, it's not doing it. Anyways, and then that's the end of Raze. And Majesco seems to be right now a company that is willing to take those risks. They are willing to put out the games that are a little bit off the radar, a little bit just too weird for a regular publisher to sit with. So I think it's going to be what they're known for. I personally think that Majesco is a company that's really coming up. They're going to be, I think, a big player in the next few years.
And as any company, as long as they put out quirky games that are fun to watch, we'll have them on the show.
Something original, man.
Yeah.
There's so many games that are just so much the same. It's just nice to play something that even just has a little bit of originality to it, which Raze's Hell, at least from an aesthetic gameplay, it's basically a third-person shooter. But from the rest of it, it is smacking of originality. So,
well, thanks for coming by, Ryan.
Oh, thanks for having me, Rich.
I appreciate it. Have you heard this craziness about Turner starting up a game service?
Oh God, yeah, the Game Tap.
Game Tap.
Spigot or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's Game Tap.
Gamewell.
Yeah. Well,
Tap.
Last night there was a little event held for it in the city, and
That's
our man Craig went over and filmed an interview about it.
Do we have a tape?
We do. We have a tape segment of it and everything.
Can we see it?
Yeah, we totally can see it. Here, check it out.
I'm Blake Lewin. I'm Vice President of Product Development at Turner Broadcasting. And we're here tonight talking about GameTap, which is our latest product that we've released. We looked at games as the next content type to create a network. Obviously, we've created very compelling cable networks using video. As we looked at broadband, we realized that you needed a different content type to make a really exciting network. And with 40% of all U.S. households having game consoles connected to their TV, we recognized that games was the right content for a new network. So we're going to distribute GameTap. It's a broadband-only product. We've built a software application that allows us to emulate games from the early arcades all the way through the consoles. The application, you'll download the GameTap application to your computer. It's a monthly subscription fee where we haven't set the price yet, but it's about $10 to $20 a month. I mean, you see what's out there in the marketplace for these types of subscription services, so it'll be in line with that. It's an all-you-can-play. So we will launch with 300 games in the service, and then we're going to treat it as programming. So every week there'll be 5 to 10 new games coming out in the same way that we promote TV episodes. So the catalog will continue to grow over time. And then in addition to the games, which all play back in their original format on the computer, we also are creating video programming. A lot like we do with TBS Dinner and a Movie or some of our other networks. We'll put video programming around it to enhance the game, to do behind-the-scenes making-ofs, all sorts of entertaining stuff to broaden the user's understanding of gaming. At E3, we'll be announcing a lot more, and a lot of the publishers we have over 17 publishers signed to date, close to 1,000 games licensed. I can tell you right now, we've got everything from Pac-Man to Splinter Cell, Sonic to Tony Hawk. So we spent a lot of time trying to make it as best we can with keyboard and mouse, because that's our value proposition. You just need a computer and a broadband connection and the software. However, the application is designed to read and recognize all USB controllers that we found. So we're encouraging our users to go out as they get involved in it, go get a trackball, go get a stick controller, and amplify or expand your playground, as we say in our tagline. So GameTap will be available October 2005.
Now joining me on the set is Brad Shoemaker. How you doing, Brad?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. So you see that crazy Turner business?
Yeah.
It sounds some good stuff,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
We got a whole bunch of stuff. So, I mean, I got more questions about Nintendogs so far this show than we've gotten anything.
I believe it. It's a game to ask questions about.
And
Definitely.
you are hopefully the man with all the answers.
I'll try.
Excellent.
I'll do my best.
Before we go ahead to any of the questions, let's see if we can answer as many as possible by just go ahead and demoing the game.
Okay. Yeah,
Can you take a look at it?
Okay.
Excellent. Sure. So what is Nintendogs all about for folks that don't know?
Well, it's basically sort of a combination dog simulator and kind of a dog sort of, you can play games through dogs basically. So you start out, as you can see, you start out by actually approaching this this place that's selling dogs. And so you go in, and let's get to where you can actually see the dogs.
Excellent.
So
for folks that are thinking about importing this game, how heavy is it on the Japanese?
Well, as you can see, it's extremely heavy.
Oh, really?
You can see, like, home, it says right there, some of the headings are in English, but
Gotcha.
for the most part, I'd say probably 90-95% is in Japanese.
So it looks like you got 3 dogs in your home.
Yeah.
And, like, they're awfully glad to see you. Just
Yeah,
been, like,
yeah.
leaving
Well,
them
this is sort of just like an observation mode. You can just sort of come down and look at the different breeds that you got available here.
Do you know how many breeds by any chance?
Well, they're doing kind of a Pokemon thing where they're selling this in 3 packages. They've got the Chihuahua package and 2 others that I can't recall right now. But
and I take it this is the Chihuahua.
Yeah, this is Chihuahua and friends. Let me back out and show you the dogs that we can actually get to.
Okay.
Get back one more.
Now, while you're hunting through the modes, I'm going to go ahead and shoot some of these questions your way if you don't mind.
Okay. Actually, I've got the
you
breeds
do?
right here.
Okay.
So you can see we got Chihuahua. There's a Retriever. I think I'm going to go. I believe this is a Dachshund. No, this is a Beagle. Actually, let me see.
They're all cute.
Yeah. This is one of the most disgustingly cute games ever made.
It's kind of hard to look at these guys. Oh.
Yeah. Let's go right here.
Excellent.
So I will go for what looks like a male retriever, and tell it that we want that dog.
That one kind of looks like black labs right there. So what are you doing right there?
So we picked our dog now.
Alrighty. And now you're hanging out with him at the house? Or?
Yeah, he's just kind of chilling out. He doesn't know where he is. He's
kind of scared.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like you got a new puppy. So go through page after page of text. You can see.
So obviously dogs do a couple different things from that age. They either make a mess on the floor or they rip something up with their teeth.
These dogs are surprisingly well behaved, actually.
Really?
I haven't seen any of that.
Really?
No puking, no tearing stuff up, no urinating, nothing like that.
I see that clock there. Does that tell me that at some point this dog ages and gets bigger and bigger?
I don't know that it actually will age physically, but it does persistently track, how hungry it is, how tired it is, that kind of thing. So let me try to call him over here.
Okay.
So he was a little unsure there at the beginning, but
seems to be warming up.
Yeah, so at this point you can just kind of use the touchscreen to pet the dog, sort of try to shake with him a little bit, Let me grab the stylus here. It's kind of hard to do with your thumb. So, see now he's
off on.
He doesn't quite know what's going on here. Okay, so you got to show him a little bit of love, you know.
Gotcha.
Pet him a little bit, kind of rub behind his ears, something like that.
Oh man.
Yeah.
He's digging on that.
So if you
look at him all happy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You can grab his tail.
Oh, watch it there.
He doesn't like that too much. All right, chill out. So if I'm nice enough to him, eventually the game will let me name him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It just like pops open.
Yeah. I just have to keep petting him until.
So how does the game go? What is the objectives? Are there things the dog has to accomplish?
Just in case we run out of time. Oh, actually, here we go.
Oh,
looks like I get to name him now. Hopefully. Yeah, looks like we're getting somewhere.
Lucky. Hello.
See, it gives you some examples.
I
I'm gonna go real easy here. Spot. See, so now he's sort of getting an idea what his name is.
Right on. Good choice of name, by the way.
Yeah. So then it just asks you to repeat the name a few times so he can. Spot.
Spot.
So he's getting there.
He's getting there.
Let's try it one more time.
So it seems like training plays an element.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a big part of the game. Spot.
Spot.
There we go. So
he's got it on lock now.
Yeah. So he knows his name now.
Right on.
So you can just.
Can you yell? Can you use it in anger? You'd be like, "Oh, what do you know, Spot?" I really know that.
I hadn't really had a reason to get angry, so I haven't tried that yet. But that's a good idea. Okay, so now you've got the name locked in. So you're sort of moving on to the main part of the game.
Alrighty.
It does have a pretty steep learning curve if you're not fluent in Japanese, just because obviously it's kind of hard to figure out what you're doing here.
Gotcha.
Okay, so now I've got him named. Call him over.
And how do you do calling him over?
Well, I just whistled to him, but I also need to tell him his name a few times, and then you want to pet the dog to reinforce his behavior.
Okay.
Spot.
So what you're doing for the folks that are home that aren't watching, you're shouting into the microphone, right?
Yeah. I'm actually talking to the dog, the fake dog.
Can he hear what we're saying like right now?
Yeah. I mean, I guess he's actually picking up the spot pattern. Let me try it again. Spot. See?
So this is literally the beginning of the game.
Yeah, this is the absolute beginning. I've just turned it on for the first time.
And then from here, where do we go?
Well, if you basically keep reinforcing his behavior, keep telling him his name, he'll start doing things like sitting, rolling over. He'll even try to shake hands. And every time he does something like that the game classifies as a trick that he can learn, it'll ask you to name that trick. Oh. So like if he sits down and then you click the name icon, it'll ask you to repeat a word, and you can just say sit.
And then every time you want
after 3 or 4 times he learns to sit, and then you can just say sit whenever, and he'll do it. You know.
I gotcha. Do you by any chance know how many different commands there are? How many different things?
I was wondering that myself. Yeah. I mean, it sort of rolls them out slowly as the dog learns. You know, it opens up new ones that you can try out. So you just basically have to watch the dog and see what it's going to do. Spot. Spot. Let's see if I can get him to sit.
Okay.
So he's still learning his name at this point. I mean, it is a pretty slow process.
I got you. So while you're doing that, I'm going to throw some of these questions at you if you don't mind.
Okay, sure.
Sammy Albaz from Fort Lauderdale, Florida wants to know, how many voice commands are in the game? Also, do you know of any U.S. release date for the game, or will we just have to wait until E3?
Well, as I said, I'm not sure exactly how many tricks there are to learn. I mean, the more you open, it seems like the more that will open up, so there could be quite a few. And as far as the release date, I think that's a big fat TBD right now, which is to be determined for people keeping score at home.
Daniel Perez out of Brazil wants to know, how many dog races will be available when game's launch? Will they let people download more dog races? And thank you from Brazil. With love, in fact.
Good to be loved. Well, as I mentioned, in Japan they've got the 3 separate releases, and each one has 5 breeds in it, although I've read online that you can actually open up the other 10 that you didn't get in your package, as you play through the game. But Nintendo hasn't announced what they're going to do for the U.S. release. They may roll them all into one product.
The one question I have is, I heard something about fleas or something like that?
Yeah, the dog that I started last week, which has unfortunately been put down since then.
So they can die?
Well, I just deleted the save file, so he's all gone now. But so he was a nice, happy, healthy dog on Friday, and I didn't turn it on again until today, and he wasn't too happy, actually.
Was he hungry?
He was thirsty, he was hungry, he had fleas, he wasn't listening to me. I mean, it was pretty much a lost cause at that point.
You just let you're out of here.
So it seems like you're going to have to pay attention to your dog at least a little bit every day.
So in a lot of regards, there's some Tamagotchi kind of.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you have to take him out for a walk. You have to clean up after him. All that kind of stuff.
I don't know. I got a couple more questions for you while you work on the dog action there.
Okay.
This one comes from James Bonakowski out of Mission Viejo, California. How does one tell what a dog needs? Like, how does one tell if the dog is hungry or if it needs to visit a fire hydrant?
It actually hasn't given a whole lot of indication
Really?
in the game as to what its needs are. You know, like with the old Tamagotchi, you could really tell, it would, you know, when it was hungry, when it needed to go out, whatever. But it seems like the dog is kind of happy all the time until, like I said, I went almost a week, and then he started showing signs of, you know, not being too happy. But at least, you know, in the short term, he just kind of chills out. And, you know, if you put down water, you know, he'll drink it if he's thirsty, that kind of thing. So.
Alec out of Norway wants to know, is there any freedom in how you can teach your dog stuff? Tricks, what to eat, what to do, and whatnot, and so on?
Well, I'm sure the dog develops preferences over time as you feed him certain kinds of food and that sort of thing.
So there are different types of food? And
yeah, you actually, further on in the game, as you start to earn money from having your dog compete in shows and this sort of thing, you can buy Frisbees, you know, ribbons, different kinds of food, all sorts of stuff like that. So,
right on. So there's actually some gameplay mechanics, so like throwing a Frisbee?
Oh,
or
yeah,
something like that?
absolutely. In fact, I don't know if I've gotten far enough yet. Let me see if I can try to go buy a Frisbee real quick.
Okay.
Spot. See, I think we've been talking so much, he hasn't quite figured out what his name is.
Oh, he's just walking away. He's like,
Yeah.
I got no time for you.
Spot.
But.
Right on. I have a couple more questions here. This one comes from Chris out of Philly.
Let me do it one more time.
Okay.
Spot. I don't think he got that one. See, sometimes he doesn't get it. Spot.
But.
There we go. All right.
This gentleman, Chris out of Philly, he actually he got all 3 versions.
Really?
Yeah, totally. He's way into this thing.
Obviously.
This is Chris. Chris wants to know, do you by any chance know, I know we just got this recently, do you by any chance know the fastest way to get owner points walking competitions? You know yet?
Just a little bit over my head. Sorry.
Chris has gone a little farther.
Yeah, he sounds like an advanced dog owner.
This just literally came in,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, we literally have just gotten it in the last few days.
Okay. This comes from Andrew Harris out of Northridge, California. From your general experience with the game, do you feel Nintendogs will provide enough longevity for the more demanding gamer, or is this kind of just something to play with?
It's hard to say. Some people could play it for half an hour and feel like they've gotten all they need from it, but you know, if you're really dedicated to it, you could easily, I'm sure, spend weeks or months nurturing your dog. You know, teaching them new tricks, finding new stuff. The more money you get, the more dogs you can actually buy, so you can have more than one dog at a time.
So have a huge kennel.
Yeah, you could build up. I think you can have 3 initially.
Really?
So yeah, you could easily have like a whole row of show dogs.
Is there some kind of like end quest? I mean, like, is there an end thing, or?
It seems like it's pretty open ended. It seems
gotcha.
like, you know, you could probably sort of max out your dog, but on the other hand, you'd always want to go back and play with it. So
Right on.
yeah.
Excellent. All right, well, that's about all the time we got for the Nintendogs.
Right.
Thanks so much
Cool.
for coming by
Absolutely.
and showing it. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
For all you folks at home with a ton of the questions that we've been getting, I've got a bunch of them right here, and I might let my man Rich take care of some of those. But one of the questions we saw coming in, like tons and tons of people sending in, was about E3 and our plans for E3. Obviously, E3 is big for a GameSpot. We do all kinds of fun stuff, live webcasts and all kinds of goodness. We're not ready just to tell you all the details yet, but be prepared and be expected to see that it's going to be GameSpot's biggest E3 of all time. And that's saying something. We've done it every year since it's been around, so it should be a lot of fun. But I can tell you this, that we're going to actually get some of you excited for E3. For those of you who have never seen our E3 2004 DVD, stick around. We're going to have some away. I think Rich might have some on hand to give away. If that's the case, whether or not that's the case, we definitely want to show you guys the documentary. We have a documentary that we had on the DB last year, so all the folks that actually picked it up got to see it. For those of you that didn't, though, we're going to actually premiere it for the first time starting next week. So stick around for the details of what time that's going to be at. We're probably going to coincide it with next week's webcast of On the Spot. So stick around for more details, not only for the documentary to get to see that for the first time online, but also all the details for E3 specifically. Also, come back tomorrow for some extra special stuff as well. But enough about that. We're going to give you a little teaser to kind of get you excited about seeing the documentary next week, to give you an idea of what it's all about. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the clip.
Hey, where you at? Turn around and walk back to Highland. We're sitting at the corner of Hollywood and Highland. We'll pick you up. We're heading to the booth.
He's right there. I see him.
I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. Run over here, get the car. Yo. Let's read.
Lord! Whew!
So you have DS tape?
I have DS tape. I have asset disc.
Okay, I've got the asset disc with the B-roll DVD. Is that what you have? This?
I have everything that you are showing. Yes.
Okay. Where'd the tape go?
Well, I have my own tape.
Basically what I'm doing is Alex just ran in here with the press disc from Square Enix, and I'm making sure we get all the information, like all the new games and stuff are all entered in the system, so we're ready to go as soon as the embargo is lifted.
Essentially, the press embargoes are the way in which game publishers get the press to help them break their big announcements. And it's something that we, for the most part, are more than happy to do because we want early and ideally exclusive access to announcements on new games. But in exchange for that, publishers aren't going to let us just run that content as soon as we hear about it. So they make us sign non-disclosure agreements, and then they hold us to specific dates. Usually on the first day of the show is when we can unveil these sorts of announcements.
So basically it kind of runs like a well-oiled machine in that I get the data entered, they enter the screenshots, and GameSpot Live enters all the movies, and then at the exact moment we can enter them, they're up and ready for people to download them.
And that is a great look at one of the more serious parts of the E3 documentary. The whole thing runs for just about an hour. For those of you who don't have a DVD and have seen it, there's some great parts that were like Greg talking about Booth Babes, our annual trip to Del Taco, Jeff's running with a burrito. My favorite part, actually, I have to admit, was my journey to record the Half-Life 2 trailer.
That was pretty good.
Where the computer crashed 3 times during it.
Good.
And we were all incredibly embarrassed.
High drama. There's
total drama.
There's high drama in that thing. There's comedy. There's all kinds of good stuff.
You get the entire E3 experience in that documentary.
It's true. And I especially love the hero stuff at the end, like Armageddon style.
The Michael Bay hero shots.
Yeah.
Sweeping cameras. All right, let's take some more questions and let's get out of here. What do you say?
Yeah,
all right,
totally.
Cool. All right, our man Tyler Beale in Guyton, Georgia. When does E3 take place, Ryan?
That's a very good question. E3 takes place the 18th, 19th, and 20th of May. So it's coming up pretty quick. Basically, I think we head down here pretty quick, so it's coming fast, man.
Yeah, you got that nice big counter reminding us how many days it is. We really appreciate that. How about some iToy questions? You got to be there. You're in some of the footage. You played like chess against Greg, right?
I did, actually.
How'd you do?
You know, it's funny because me and Greg both realized we hadn't played chess in a really long time.
Yeah.
And I think he was trying to exploit that fact because I don't know if you have it in the footage, but he races over the queen and tries to basically just wipe out my entire side. But he just wasn't watching out for my knight, and I boom. So I was, it was a pitch battle.
Isn't he born in Russia? Don't you have to be a master at chess?
You totally. But
hockey.
I think me and him could get some chess on when the iToy chat comes out. Yeah.
I remember once my dad, I haven't played chess against him forever. You can win a game of chess in like 5 moves. And he did that to me once, and it was embarrassing. All right, here's some iToy questions though. Hugo in Bolivia, do you think iToy is just a fad, or will it evolve into a full bodysuit controller someday?
I think it's going to definitely evolve. Whether you actually need the full body suit or not is something that I think Sony is proving with what they're working on. I mean, it's come already so far, and it's so simple. I mean, like for instance, that Kinetic game that Nike helped develop with Sony. It's basically, it takes it another step that we haven't seen. Anti-Grav, of course, took it to the next step where we have like the little 3D kind of do a little puppeteering, basically.
Right.
Kinetic is cool because not only does it come with like this little fisheye lens that kind of gives you an expanded view of what the iToy can see. That way you don't have to kind of create as much room in your living room or whatever to move around. But also it's doing better. In the developer interview we have, he talks about it hitting, and when you hit something, it's not just touching it anymore. And you can see when Greg was doing it, you could tell when he was hitting it harder, it would know.
Right.
So they're getting better with just the iToy technology by itself. So it's kind of neat to see how that'll evolve all by its own. What comes out in the future, holodecks or whatever else, who's to say? But I definitely like where it's moving to. I think there'll be some fun physical stuff we can do.
I think a lot of it also on how well it develops will depend on how cheap cameras get.
Totally.
Because if you want to make a mass device, you have to make it affordable, and they're not going to put a TV broadcast camera on top of everyone's TV.
It's true. It's amazing how good that camera does, and the fisheye lens that's going to come with Kinetic, they're not going to charge you anything for it.
Oh, they're not?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Marquez Stewart, Knoxville. What games come with iToy Chat?
iToy Chat, I know it has the naval battle. I know it has the chess, of course, and I know it has. The cool thing I do want to say about the iToy Chat is not only do you get your friends list and build that up so you can kind of talk to a few. So I can call you up and say, hey, what's up, Rich? How you doing? Little video phone action.
That's cool.
But if you're not there, which is probably more likely the case, you're not on your PS2 all the time on iToy Chat, I'm sure.
Right.
But when you're not there, you can totally record a video message that sits on the server, so then when you do turn it on PS2, it pulls it off the server, so you can have a bunch of messages from all your friends saying, hey, yo, we're doing this, that, and the other. So that's the one thing. As far as the rest of the games that are in it, I'd have to say check the game space and read the text and see what they are. I know there wasn't a whole lot of them, but there was a few in there.
Nice. Last question. This is from Tim Teets in Elmira, New York. Are there any plans for the PSP to use the iToy or iToy type device?
You know, we have heard some stuff. We've heard the digital camera thing. You know, it's not very hard to imagine that there'll be like a USB digital camera that'll plug in the top of the PSP, whether it sits up there and allows you to kind of, use your PSP to take pictures or little video clips or whatever. I'm sure it'll do all that, and I'm sure they're going to do some crazy stuff. I mean, like, we know that the iToy is going to allow you to do some face modeling that I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe that not only for the game that you can model the face for, so basically take a picture of your face, but then you can also augment the 3D model so it kind of fits your head better. And then, but I think they also said, but I don't want to say that, there was a way to transport that information to the PSP version of that game, but come back to me on that one.
Okay. You can definitely do it on Tony Hawk right now.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, there you go.
Picture on you over the USB cable.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, sweet.
Yeah.
Hey, last week we gave away 5 copies of Real Championships 2, the Leandri Conflict. Have you been playing that?
That game's hella fun.
Is it?
Yeah.
I should get my hands on it. But the question we asked, who's on the cover? Pretty simple trivia question. Who's on the cover? What are the names of the characters?
Yeah.
Do you know?
I've seen the cover. I don't know the characters.
Okay, the names are Anubis and Selkit.
There you go.
And the first 5 people to get that right and give me a complete mailing address, I gotta say right now, looking into the camera, if you want to win a copy of a game that we give away on the show, I need more than just the answer. I need a full mailing address, or we need a full mailing address. We can't send you a prize. So if someone else comes along after you and has a full mailing address, we've had a lot of people actually, like we've had giveaways where like 300 people have entered, and because like X number of people get it wrong, and X number of people who get it right don't include mailing addresses, people have watched the show, the archive version, and got it right. I know.
That's
it
crazy.
happens.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah. But anyway, so
straight.
These 5 people did it right.
There you go.
And they did it right first.
Who do we got?
We got Chris Ushler of Pennsylvania, Samuel Magruder of New Hampshire. New Hampshire.
There you go.
All right, sweet. Chris Carney of Texas, Agron Grava of Alaska, and Jesse Jacobs of New York.
Right on.
Only one name that I couldn't pronounce right off the bat. That's not bad.
You're pretty good.
Thanks. Let's give away some DVDs.
Alrighty.
We have. How many do you want to give away? 3.
Let's do a bunch of them.
All right, we'll give away 5.
All right.
6. We'll give away 6 E3 DVDs.
Keep in mind they're E3 2004.
E3 2004, obviously last year's DVD. There's over 11 hours of content.
That's a lot of content.
Was it the biggest DVD, E3 DVD, I think? It has the most content
it's
all
over.
around. Yeah. And it has the Pimp documentary, hour-long, 185 game previews. We got booth tours. We got edited press conferences. Like, if you ever wanted to be at an E3 press conference, but you said, man, that thing looks like an hour long, and I wish it was condensed into a hot 20 minutes.
Yes.
Yeah, we did that.
We did that.
We did that for you.
And it's funny because like a lot of people when we did that complained that we didn't have the full version.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, yeah, you said it right. We're saving them the trouble. It was in the business talk. It's
they're seriously like every one of these press conferences has half an hour of spreadsheets and flowcharts that you don't want to see.
But of course, if they ever wanted to see the full version, they could always go to the
site.
Go to the site. We have all of them still.
Yeah. And the best E3 awards are on here as well.
That's right. And that thing you did that was awesome. By the way.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah,
I like the documentary better.
Okay.
Give them away.
All right.
You do it.
All right. So the first person, or I guess the first 5 people, they go ahead and 6 people.
6 people.
First 6 people to send in the dates that E3 2005 are taking place. Remember, I said it earlier in the show, so if you're watching the archive version, back it up a little bit, get that time. But for the first 6 that send us in the dates for the E3 2005 this year, they're going to go ahead and get one of these DVDs.
I like this new set. I get to mess with you a little more. That's a lot of fun.
Totally.
Well, thanks. Good show today.
Yeah, it was a great show.
A lot, man.
Yeah, totally.
I'd like to thank everyone who came by. Bethany, we have Brad, Ryan Davis, and Jeff Gersman, obviously. Everyone for coming by. The whole crew here who always put together a great show. And got a lot of crazy stuff next week.
There's going to be some good stuff.
And a whole bunch of good stuff on the site as well. Look for Pack Picks reviews, Raze Hell reviews, previews for all the games you've seen today. And check out the full From Russia with Love. I was about to say Everything or Nothing interview. Check out that full interview and the preview. And while you're doing that, we'll get ready for next week's show. And we'll catch you next time right here on the spot. Thanks for watching.